How's it going, everyone? I hope you all are doing great. I am Dork Radu and I am back with another daily analysis, starting off as always with the Forex analysis. And to be more exact, I will start off with odd JPY because I found a very nice sell limit opportunity on this currency pair. Okay, so let's quickly discuss about why this sell limit opportunity is valid. So, as we all know, we have some concepts that we like to follow in order to determine our setups. And on this specific setup, we kind of follow all of these concepts, starting off with the liquidity sweep here, followed by the very impulsive break of structure to the downside. After that, we look for inefficiency, and we do have a very clear inefficiency left behind over here. And we can see that we have a order block and a fair value gap lining up perfectly with our area of interest. Okay. After that, we then like to enable our trade org indicator to see if we have any confluence with it as well. And in this case, the 4-hour is bearish on the graph, so that is a pretty nice confluence. Apart from that, we don't really have much. Okay, but as always, there will be setups where we won't have a indicator confluence, and we will still take it based on price action. Okay, and now we wanted to see a corrective pullback, which we so far had. So to be fair, on this setup, we are ready to pull the trigger and place the sell limits. Okay. Next up, we have Eurojpy with another sell limit opportunity, looking pretty similar to JPY. Okay. So let's quickly discuss about this setup. Once again, we have a liquidity sweep above this high, above this high, above this high as well, above multiple highs. And after that, price decided to move impulsively towards the downside, breaking structure here and here as well. And once again, if we look up here, we left a very nice fair value gap behind, lining up perfectly with our fire zone. If we enable the trade org indicator, oh, 1 second. I think we have some, okay, we won't enable it, it's all good. We wanted to see if we have a graph confluence with it or a trade org order block confluence with it. Okay, that's what we wanted to see. But leaving that aside, now all you want to see is a nice corrective pullback towards our fire zone in order for us to pull the trigger. Okay, and so far we do have a corrective pullback. That's why this setup is valid for us to take. Okay, and pull the trigger right now and place our sell limits. Next up, we have GBP CAD. Okay, so on GBP CAD, we have another nice sell limit opportunity. Okay, and nice, the graph is the trade org graph, the trade org indicator is back. So over here we have a nice sell limit opportunity based on this bearish range. Okay, so the reason I took this opportunity is because I liked how price impulsively broke structure here with these two very big bearish candles. Okay, and then if we look up here, we have a very clear imbalance being left behind. Okay, very clear. And we also have a fair value gap. Okay, we have this very nice fair value gap here, lining up perfectly with our fire zone. Okay, and now we can go ahead and enable the trade org indicator to see if we have any confluences with it on this setup. Okay, so boom, check this out. Great confluences with the trade org SMC indicator. Why? Because look at the graph. The graph is all red, which is great for us. And then we also have the trade org order block that is lining up perfectly with our area of interest. Now, as always, we want to see a corrective pullback towards our fire zone in order to pull the trigger. Okay, so that's that for this pair. Now we can move on to the next one, which is USD CAD. On USD CAD, we have another sell limit opportunity. We can actually go ahead and extend this fib a bit. Okay, so once again, clear liquidity sweep followed by a very aggressive break of structure to the downside. Then we saw that we left imbalance behind. We also had this unmitigated order block that's being left behind. That was lining up perfectly with our area of interest. Now we also have inducement up here. And if we enable the trade org indicator, On this one, we don't really have that many confluences with it, which again, it is totally fine because we don't need a indicator confluence on all of our setups. We can take setups based on market structure as well. Okay, and now we want to see a corrective pullback in order to pull the trigger. Okay, next up, odd USD. So on this pair, another sell limit opportunity. Okay, very similar to odd JPY, I would say. We have a very nice liquidity sweep here, followed by a super impulsive break of structure to the downside. That also left a very nice, as we can see, fair value gap behind. That is lining up perfectly with our area of interest. Okay, and if we enable the trader indicator, boom, on this one we have a great confluence with it. Why? Because we have the graph looking red, which is great, and then we have the trader auto block lining up perfectly with our area of interest. Okay, so that's why this setup, in my opinion, is a very valid one. And now we just want to see this continuation of the corrective pullback in order for us to pull the trigger. All right. Next up, we have NZD/USD with another sell limit opportunity. On this one, we have a textbook liquidity sweep above this high, but also above this swing high here. All right, followed by a very impulsive move to the downside. Okay, we can see how bearish the momentum became here. We had a shift in momentum and price decided to head lower. And if we look closely, we left a unmitigated order block as well as a nice fair value gap behind that. Both are lining up with our fire zone, okay, with our area of interest. On this one, we don't really have a big confluence with the indicator, which is fine. And now we just want to see a corrective pullback towards our area of interest because right now we are pretty far away from it. Okay, so we just gotta wait on that. Next up, we have odd CAD with another sell limit opportunity. This one is looking very, very nice. I really like the looks of this setup. Okay, so if we look closely here, we have a very nice liquidity sweep above these two highs, followed by a very aggressive break of structure to the downside. We broke this low here and we also broke this low here. Okay, so we broke two significant lows. We also left this nice fair value gap behind that is lining up perfectly with our area of interest. And if we enable the trader indicator, we have a perfect confluence with it on this setup. Why? Because the daily and the 4 hour on the graph are both bearish, which is very important for us. And then we have the trader auto block lining up perfectly with our area of interest. Okay, so because of that, this setup is definitely a valid one to take. And so far we kind of had we do have a corrective pullback, so we want to see a continuation of this corrective pullback in order for us to pull the trigger and take this setup. Okay, next up, Euro AUD. On this one we have a buy limit opportunity. On Euro AUD we have a buy limit opportunity. Right here we have a liquidity sweep below this low and also below this low. All right, if we look closely, followed by an impulsive break of structure to the upside, breaking all of these highs, okay, with this impulsive bullish move. All right, if we enable the trader indicator, let's see what we have on this one. Another great confluence. Check this out. Look at the graph, daily 4 hour bullish, which is great, exactly what we want to see. And then we have the trader order block lining up perfectly with our area of interest. Okay, couldn't be more beautiful. But still, of course, as always, don't think that if on a setup we have all the confluences in the world, it's going to be a 100% winner, because that is wrong. Okay, at the end of the day, trading is a game of probabilities and losers will still be possible, even though you have the most confluences on a setup. All right, so bear that in mind and make sure you stick to your risk management plan. Okay, so after that, we just want to see a corrective pullback, which we so far got towards our fire zone in order to pull the trigger. All right, next up, GBP USD with another sell limit opportunity. Again, textbook liquidity sweep followed by a textbook impulsive break of structure to the downside. Okay, left a very clear inefficiency behind. We have this fair value gap lining up perfectly with our area of interest. Okay, and so far we also have a corrective pullback. And if we enable the trader indicator, the daily is bearish, which is what we want to see. Okay, so yeah, this setup is definitely a valid one to take, but of course we want to see a continuation of this corrective pullback in order for us to pull the trigger. And lastly, for our Forex analysis, we have Euro USD. So on this one, we had a nice liquidity sweep above this high, and also above this high. Okay, we kind of had three equal highs. Price went above all of them, swept liquidity, and immediately after broke structure very aggressively to the downside, leaving this very nice fair value gap behind. Okay, that is lining up once again perfectly with our area of interest. Okay, and if we enable the trade org indicator, boom, daily is bearish. That's what I like to see. Okay, and lastly, of course, now we want to see a continuation of this corrective pullback towards our fire zone in order for us to pull the trigger. And yeah, that being said, this pretty much ends today's Forex analysis. As always, if there's any questions, make sure to let us know in the Discord. Now, I will go over today's metals analysis, starting off with gold. So on gold, we said yesterday that we are approaching this important unmitigated supply level, and we want to see how price reacts to it. Okay, if we check the daily, okay, we can also check the daily. We can see that we approached this point of interest here on the daily, and now we want to see how price will react to it. Okay, that's what we want to see now. So far, we have a very nice rejection to this unmitigated supply level, but I want to see a clear break either to the up or to the downside to be able to determine a range and then be able to trade that range. But till then, I will just stay on the sidelines on gold, because right now we are pretty much in the middle of nowhere. Okay, so there's no point for us to force any setups on this metal. Okay, keeping it very simple and straightforward. Next up, we have silver, and on silver we do have a buy limit opportunity, which is looking pretty nice. So on silver, we know that we had a rejection on this daily demand level, a very nice rejection actually, as we can already see. Okay, price immediately rejected from that demand level, which is nice to see, and started to pick up some bullish momentum. Okay, it also had this wonderful bullish range here that we want to currently trade, okay, to possibly take price towards this unmitigated supply level. That's what we want with this bullish range. Okay, so we have a liquidity sweep here, followed by a very impulsive break of structure to the upside. We can see that we left a very clear inefficiency behind. We have this fair value gap lining up perfectly with our area of interest. And if we enable the trade org indicator, we can see that the 4 hour is bullish, the daily is bearish. So we don't really have that many confluences with the indicator on this specific setup, but it is still fine. Now, we just want to see a continuation of this corrective pullback towards our area of interest in order for us to pull the trigger. Okay? And yeah, that being said, this pretty much ends today's metals analysis. As always, if there's any questions, make sure to let us know on Discord. And now I will go over today's indices analysis, starting off with US30, where we currently have a potential buy limit opportunity. Okay, so let's firstly check the daily. Okay, so on the daily, check this out. We can see that we rejected from this daily demand level pretty nicely. And now we can see that we have all this inefficiency to fill, and we might have a point of interest here. So in my opinion, I do think that US30 might have some gas in the tank to take the price higher towards this area here. And knowing it, I was tempted to look for some buy limit opportunities, which we got based on this bullish range right here. All right, so we can see that on the 4 hour, we swept liquidity here. And after that, we broke structure impulsively to the upside, leaving inefficiency behind. Okay, we also have this unmitigated order block lining up perfectly with our area of interest. And if we enable the trade org SMC indicator, check this out, very beautiful. We have the 4 hour on the graph looking bullish. Ideally, we would have liked the daily to be bullish as well, but it's totally fine. But we have the trade org order block lining up perfectly with our area of interest, which is a great confluence for us to consider taking this setup. Now, as always, we just want to wait for a corrective pullback towards our area of interest in order for us to pull the trigger. Okay, that's what we want to see now. Next up, we have SPX500, which is currently running in profits. Okay, this is a setup we discussed about yesterday, a setup that was valid for us to take. We had a very nice liquidity sweep here, followed by an aggressive break of structure. Imbalance has been left behind, and check this out. Both entries are running in profits. The entry number 2 smashed TP1 right here, okay, and it's currently running in some nice profits, very nicely, very promising. It had a pretty nice sniper reaction to our zones, and it is currently running in some nice profits. Okay, so yeah, that's about it for SPX. We can now move on to NAS100, which is our last index. And to be fair, on this one, we are legit in the middle of nowhere. Okay, so it is very clear to see that we are in the middle of nowhere. On the daily, we can see that, again, we are pretty much in the middle of nowhere. We just rejected from this daily supply level, but it didn't give us any clear bearish range to trade. Okay, neither we have a bullish range. Okay, so right now, again, I want to see a nice break out of this range here, I would say, in order for me to look for some setups after that. Okay, that's what I want to see on NAS100. Till then, I'll just stay on the sidelines. It is that simple. Okay, and yeah, that being said, this is pretty much it for today's indices analysis. As always, if there's any questions, feel free to reach out on the Discord. And now I will go over today's crypto analysis, starting off with Bitcoin. So on Bitcoin yesterday, we had a buy limit opportunity, but that setup is not valid anymore. Why? Because of this super aggressive wick. Okay, so this week pretty much invalidated our setup because I don't know. It's pretty weird to have a huge wick like this one. And as we can see, we are in a daily, in a very important daily point of interest. So now what I want to see is I want to see a reaction. I want to see how price will react to this level. Will it go through it? Will it go deep inside and go through it? If yes, then I would look for some buy opportunities to take price higher. If we do see a nice aggressive rejection from it, then I would look for some breaks of structure to the downside to take price lower. But right now, we are sitting in the middle of nowhere. So because of that, I'll just stay on the sideline on Bitcoin and move on to the next cryptocurrency, which is Ethereum. And to be fair, on Ethereum, we kind of have the same exact thing. Okay, we kind of have the exact same thing. We have this huge wick here. Price is currently sitting at a pretty important point of interest. So we just want to see a clear move, either to the up or to the downside, in order for us to then consider taking some opportunities, some setups. Okay, that's what we want to see on Ethereum as well. So there's not much to discuss about, and that's why I'm not going to waste time. I don't want to waste anyone's time. That's why I'm being very straightforward. If there's something to discuss about, we'll discuss it. If not, I'll just tell what I will be looking for, and we'll move on to our next currency pair or crypto pair or indices or metal. Okay, so next up we have Dogecoin. Again, this annoying wick here. We are also sitting at a pretty important point of interest, in my opinion. And once again, I want to see how price will react from here. I want to see what price will decide to do. And after that, I will react as well. Till then, there's no point for me to force anything. Okay, I'll just keep it simple and stay on the sidelines. All right. Next up, we have XRP. Again, pretty much the same exact story as on the others. We have this annoying wick here. And yeah, now again, we are approaching a very important level. And once we approach a very important level, we want to see how price will react to it before we will take any other decisions. And lastly, we have Solana, where we actually have a setup. This is the only cryptocurrency where I found a potential setup. First off, let's quickly check the daily as well. Okay, so yeah, the daily is looking pretty bullish, I would say, but again, it is approaching some important levels, so it's going to be interesting to see how price will react to those levels. But nonetheless, we can see that we have a very nice bullish range here on Solana. We have a liquidity sweep here, followed by a very aggressive break of structure to the upside. that left inefficiency behind. We also have this fair value gap lining up perfectly with our area of interest, okay? And if we enable the trade arc indicator, we can see that the 4-hour is bullish on the graph. Ideally, we would have loved having the daily as well, but it's all good. And we also have the trade arc order block lining up with our area of interest. Now all that's left is for us to see a corrective pullback towards our fire zone in order for us to consider taking this setup. Okay, so yeah, that being said, this is pretty much it for today's crypto analysis. As always, feel free to let us know in the Discord if there's any questions. And as always, I will see y'all on the work side. Take care.